Okay, so this Matlab presentation introduces 2D plotting in Matlab. It focuses on the plot and fplot commands for creating simple plots. Um, so we're gonna start with an example of some of the basic plots of Matlab, uh, which is it's capable of x w plot on the left, polar coordinate plot in the middle, and the 3D plot on the right with colored shading and mesh lines to better display the surface. Here's an example of a 2D plot. It's the simpler plots out of all of the ones that I've just said. Um, this plot has a title that describes the dependent and independent variable, which is, and y-axis and the x-axis. Um, it so each of these axis labels indicate what is being plotted with the corresponding units, including the parentheses. Uh, because there's more than one data set being plotted, there's a legend that indicates which curve corresponds to which data. So you can see the theory and experimental, and here we have two lines that cross each other at about 700 intensity lux. Two-dimensional plot command. So plot command, uh, this in parentheses, um, it's the command generally takes two arguments, which is x and the y. The y vector will be plotted against the x vector. It's important to note that the two vectors must have the same numbers of elements. The plot that results will be a collection of line segments that connected the XY pairs, so that the more points there are to plot, the smoother the plot should look. Next one is creating the X and Y vectors. Um, this it's pretty self-explanatory. If you're plotting data, then the data is entered as the elements of two vectors. One of the x-axis location and the other for the y-axis location. The vectors need to be the same size so that each data point has a corresponding x and y value. Um, so here's a plot of the given data. It's a quick example here. First, the x and the y vectors are filled with the appropriate data. So 1, 2, 3, 5, whatever. And then the plot x comma y is located underneath that data, and then again, after you enter that in, and then MATLAB complete and then MATLAB creates a graphic which is gonna look just like this. So pretty easy. Line specifiers in the plot command. One of the first ways to gain control over the appearance of MATLAB plot is through the specifiers. So line specifiers allow to control the style of the line, such as solid, dashed, dotted, or dash dot, the color of the line, and the type of the marker that will be placed at each XY pair locations. Um, there's a table that explains basic possible options for line specifiers. So here's a line style, which is solid, dotted, dash dot, line color, marker color, and so forth. So these are the options you can choose to um, customize your plot. Specifiers are typed inside of the plot, which you can see, for example, X is just a regular, it's going to be just regular dots, and then a y with a comma, um, and r with a comma. So here's just some examples how a graph can be modified. Um, lines. Okay, so this one we can see an example of plotting early sales. So here's a year, sales number, and then after entering the data, we would use a plot command with years, sales, and then the modifiers, specifiers, which will do which will make the dashed line and the asterisk markers. So after we do these specifiers, our plot should look just like this. A plot of a function. This plot is an output of the script file, and enough points were generated so that the plot accurately represents the output of the function. The following function you can see right here. Um, so this is the same plot, but it has a more rough view to it because it doesn't have any modifiers. And the spacing is 0.3, which obviously plot doesn't represent the function nearly as well as the previous plot. And that's about it to the plot introduction. Thank you.